You don't notice it at first. Your cat is there like always. Quiet, soft, peaceful. Curled up in their favorite spot, eyes half closed, breathing slow and steady. Nothing seems wrong. Nothing feels wrong. If anything, it feels comforting, like everything is exactly the way it should be. But what if that calm isn't peace? What if it's silence? The kind of silence that hides pain so well, you never hear it. Last week, I looked into the lives of 50 indoor cats. 50 cats that their owners believed were perfectly fine, healthy, safe, loved. And out of those 50, 47 were suffering. Not loudly, not dramatically, silently. That's the part that stays with you. Because cats don't cry out the way we expect. They don't limp into your arms or collapse in front of you. They adapt. They endure. They survive. And while they're doing that, the damage quietly builds inside them. Dehydration, kidney strain, pain in their mouths so sharp it would make you wince just imagining it. And the worst part? Most of it didn't have to happen. It wasn't cruelty. It wasn't neglect in the way we usually think of it. It was something far more dangerous. It was love, done the wrong way. You think you're giving your cat a safe, comfortable life. A warm home, food, protection from the outside world. And in many ways you are. But hidden inside that comfort are small decisions. Tiny habits. Things that seem harmless. Until they aren't. Take something as simple as your cat's litter box. It's just a box, right? A basic necessity. You clean it, you keep it in a corner, and your cat uses it. End of story. But imagine this. Imagine your entire life depended on one single bathroom. One space that never truly felt clean. One place where you had no choice but to step into what you left behind yesterday. No escape. No second option. No privacy. Just that. Day after day. That's the reality many cats are living in. Because for them, it isn't just about having a place to go. It's about how they go. Deep inside their instincts there's a quiet rule they follow. A need for separation. A need for cleanliness. A need for control. And when that need is taken away, they don't complain. They hold it in. They wait. And slowly their bodies begin to suffer for it. Some will start avoiding the box altogether, choosing your bed or your carpet instead. Not because they're being difficult, but because they're desperate. Because to them that one box isn't a solution. It's a problem they can't escape. And when that happens, what do? We get frustrated, confused, maybe even angry. We think they're acting out. But they're not. They're asking for help, in the only way they can. Then there's something even more surprising. Something sitting quietly in your kitchen right now. A simple bowl of water. You fill it every day. Fresh, clean water. You place it right next to their food, thinking it's convenient, logical, caring. But your cat walks past it, again and again. Instead they jump onto the sink. They hover near the toilet. They try to drink from your glass when you're not looking. And it makes no sense, until you realize something. To your cat that water bowl feels wrong. Not because of the water itself, but because of where it is. Long before your home existed, long before bowls and kitchens and routines, their instincts were shaped by survival. And in that world, water near food wasn't safe. It meant contamination, rotting prey, danger. That instinct didn't disappear. It stayed. So every time your cat approaches that bowl beside their food, something deep inside them hesitates. Something tells them, this might not be safe. And even though they're thirsty, they walk away. They drink less than they should. Just enough to get by. Just enough to survive. Until one day that quiet lack of water becomes something bigger. Something heavier. Something that starts affecting their body in ways you can't see. And you still don't notice. Because they're still quiet. Always quiet. Then there's the long hours. The sleeping. 16 hours. Sometimes more. You look at them stretched out in the sunlight, completely still, and you smile. You think, what a peaceful life. No stress. No worries. Just rest. But what if it isn't rest? What if it's emptiness? In another life your cat would spend their days moving. Hunting. Watching. Climbing. Exploring. Every moment filled with purpose. Every sense alive and engaged. But here, inside these walls, there's nothing to chase. Nothing to discover. Nothing that truly challenges them. So they stop trying. They sleep not because they're fulfilled, but because there's nothing else left to do. And slowly something inside them begins to fade. You might not see it right away. It doesn't look dramatic. It doesn't look urgent. But it shows up in small ways. A little less curiosity. A little less energy. A little less life. Until one day that quiet boredom turns into something deeper. Something heavier. a kind of sadness that has no voice. And while all of this is happening, while your cat is adjusting, adapting, enduring, there's another danger in your home. One you would never suspect. It smells nice. It makes your space feel calm, relaxing, peaceful. A soft scent drifting through the air. Lavender. Mint. Something fresh and comforting. You breathe it in and feel at ease. But your cat? They're breathing it in too. And for them, it's not comfort. It's harm. Their bodies aren't built to handle these scents. What feels gentle to you can be overwhelming to them. It settles into their fur, clings to their skin. And when they groom themselves, as they always do, it enters their system. A little at a time. So small you'd never notice. Until the signs begin. A bit of drooling. A moment of weakness. A strange kind of tiredness that doesn't go away. Nothing that feels urgent. Nothing that makes you panic. Just enough to be ignored. And that's how it continues. Quietly. Always quietly. This is the part no one tells you. That the biggest dangers in your cat's life don't come from the outside world. They come from inside your home. From routines you never questioned. From habits that seemed harmless. From love that didn't know any better. And once you start seeing it, you can't unsee it. Because suddenly every little detail matters. Every choice. Every placement. Every moment your cat looks fine, but isn't. And the hardest truth to accept? They were trusting you the whole time. Even when it hurt. Even when it felt wrong. Even when they had no way to tell you something wasn't right. They stayed. They adapted. They suffered in silence. And now that you know, the silence feels a lot louder than it did before. There's a moment when everything shifts. It's the moment you stop seeing your cat as fine and start noticing the small things you used to ignore. The way they hesitate before eating. The way they wander through the house at night, restless, like they're searching for something they can't find. The way they look at you sometimes, not just with affection but with a quiet kind of need you never fully understood. And once you see it, you can't go back. Because now, every detail feels like it matters. Even something as simple as whether your cat has been spayed or neutered. It sounds like a medical decision. A routine choice. Something people delay because their cat never goes outside. So what's the rush? But inside your cat, something else is happening. Something constant. Something intense. Their body doesn't understand walls or doors or safety. It only understands instinct. Cycles. Urges that were meant to be fulfilled in a world they no longer live in. For a female cat, it's like being trapped in a loop that never ends. Every few weeks, her body prepares for something that never comes. The restlessness builds. The discomfort grows. She cries, not for attention but because something deep inside her is pulling her in a direction she can't go. And she stays there, stuck in that feeling. Again. And again. For males it's different, but no less intense. There's a tension that never fades. A constant alertness. A pressure to defend, to mark, to act. But there's nowhere to go. No territory to claim in the way their instincts demand. No release for the energy building inside them. So it turns inward. It becomes frustration. Aggression. Stress that never truly leaves. And while all of that is happening on the inside, something else is quietly building too. The kind that doesn't show up until it's too late. The kind that grows silently, hidden beneath behavior you might dismiss as normal. Your cat doesn't understand why they feel this way. They just endure it. The same way they endure something else you might never think about, the height of your home. Look around your space for a second. Not across the room, but up. How much of that space belongs to your cat? Because for them, the world was never meant to be flat. It was meant to have layers. Heights. Places to climb, to escape, to observe. Being above ground wasn't just a preference. It was safety. It was control. It was survival. But inside most homes, that entire dimension is gone. They live on the floor. Walk the same paths. Sit in the same low places. And when they feel uncertain, when something startles them or makes them uneasy, there's nowhere to go. Nowhere to rise above it. So they stay in that feeling. A quiet, constant tension. You might call it anxiety. You might think your cat is just a little nervous. But it's deeper than that. It's the absence of something their entire being depends on. And then, there's something even smaller. Something you see every single day without thinking twice. Their food bowl. It's clean. It's full. It looks perfectly fine. But watch your cat the next time they eat. Really watch. The way they lean in carefully. The way they pull back. The way they sometimes take food out and drop it on the floor instead of eating from the bowl itself. It seems strange, maybe even a little annoying. But there's a reason. Because every time their face dips into that bowl, something touches them. Not painfully, not sharply, but persistently. Their whiskers, those delicate, sensitive extensions of their senses, brushing against the sides over and over again. A constant stimulation their brain can't ignore. A subtle discomfort that builds with every bite. It's like trying to eat while something keeps tapping your face, again and again. Eventually you'd pull away too. Eventually you'd start avoiding it. And your cat does exactly that. Not because they're picky, but because something that should feel natural, doesn't. The same misunderstanding follows them to another part of your home. The scratching, the torn fabric, the damaged furniture, the frustration that builds every time you see another mark where it shouldn't be. It feels intentional. Like they're choosing your couch over the thing you bought just for them. But they're not choosing. They're compensating. Scratching isn't random. It isn't just about their claws. It's a full body movement. A stretch. A release. A way to leave a mark that says this space is mine. And when the option you've given them doesn't allow that, when it's too small, too hidden, too disconnected from the places that matter to them, they find something that does. Not to defy you, but to complete something their body needs. And then, there's food. That bowl that never seems empty. That constant access that feels like generosity. Love even. But for your cat, it becomes something else entirely. Because in the absence of effort, in the absence of the hunt, the wait, the rhythm of earning their meals, something changes. They eat not out of need, but out of availability. A little here, a little there. It doesn't feel like much, until it adds up, and their body starts to carry it. Extra weight that doesn't just slow them down, but weighs on everything inside them. Their joints, their organs, their energy. They move less. They sleep more. And it looks like comfort, but it isn't. It's a quiet decline. And all of these small, almost invisible pressures, they don't exist in isolation. They build on each other, layer by layer, until your cat's world, this safe, comfortable home you created, starts to feel less like a sanctuary, and more like something they're trying to survive. Even the way you clean your home plays a part in this. The floors that shine, the surfaces that smell fresh, the sense of order and hygiene you take pride in. But your cat experiences that world differently. They don't just walk on those floors. They absorb them. Every step they take, every surface they touch, becomes part of them the moment they begin to groom. And grooming isn't occasional. It's constant. It's instinct. It's unavoidable. So whatever lingers on those surfaces, ends up inside them. Bit by bit. Day after day. And just like everything else, the signs are quiet. A little off balance. A little less energy. A moment where something feels not quite right, but not enough to alarm you. Until it is. And by then, it's been happening for a long time. There's also something else your cat carries. Something that has nothing to do with food or space or physical health. Something emotional. Loneliness. It's easy to assume cats don't need much. That they're independent. That they're fine being alone for hours while life pulls you in different directions. But independence doesn't mean absence of need. It just means they don't demand it loudly. Your cat watches you leave. Listens as the door closes. And then, the silence returns. Not peaceful silence. Empty silence. Hours pass without interaction. Without stimulation. Without connection. And while they may sleep through parts of it, something inside them stays alert. Waiting. For you. For something to happen. For life to come back into their world. And when it doesn't, they adjust. They always do. But adjustment doesn't mean it's okay. It just means they've learned how to endure it. The same way they endure the treats you give them. The ones that feel like affection. Rewards. Little moments of joy you share together. But too much of anything, even love, can become harmful. Because those treats don't nourish them the way they should. They excite. They stimulate. They create cravings that go beyond hunger. And over time, your cat starts to seek them not because they need them, but because they've learned to want them. And that want slowly replaces what's actually good for them. You see excitement. They feel dependency. And just like everything else, it builds, quietly. Until one day your cat isn't just living in your home. They're adapting to it in ways you never intended. Changing. Coping. Surviving. And the hardest part to accept is this. They're still looking at you the same way. Still trusting you. Still believing that everything around them is the way it's supposed to be. Because you made it that way. And now, you're starting to realize what that really means. There's a weight that comes with knowing. Not the kind that crushes you all at once, but the kind that settles slowly, thought by thought, realization by realization, until you start seeing your cat differently. Not just as they appear on the surface, but as they truly are beneath it. living in a world you built for them. A world they never chose, but fully depend on. And when you really let that sink in, something changes. Because now, the little things don't feel so little anymore. Like their mouth. You've seen them eat. You've heard the crunch of kibble, watched them finish a meal, maybe even ask for more. It looks normal. Feels normal. So you assume everything is fine. But inside their mouth, there could be pain you've never imagined. Not sharp enough to stop them from eating, but constant enough to follow them through every bite. A dull, aching discomfort that never quite disappears. Something they've learned to live with, because they don't have a choice. And they won't show it. They'll keep eating. Keep behaving as if nothing is wrong. Because for them, hiding pain isn't bravery. It's survival. And while they're doing that, something invisible begins to spread. Slowly. Quietly. From their mouth into the rest of their body. A silent chain reaction you would never connect back to something as simple as their teeth. Until it's too late. Then there's the temperature of your home. You feel comfortable. Maybe even cozy. A steady environment where you can relax, breathe, and exist without discomfort. But your cat? They're colder than you think. You've seen them curl tightly into themselves, wrapping their body into a small, compact shape. You've noticed how they chase sunlight across the floor, how they gravitate toward warm electronics, blankets, or any source of heat they can find. It looks cute. Endearing even. But it's not just preference. It's need. Their body is constantly working to maintain warmth in an environment that doesn't quite meet them where they are. And over time, that quiet discomfort changes how they move, how they rest, how they feel. They conserve energy. They slow down. They become still, not because they want to be, but because it costs less. And once again, it looks like calm. But it isn't. It's adaptation. Then there's something even more subtle. Routine. To you, time is flexible. Meals can happen a little earlier, a little later. Play can wait. Some days are busy, others are not. But your cat doesn't experience time that way. For them it's precise, predictable, safe. Or at least, it's supposed to be. When that rhythm breaks, when meals shift, when interaction becomes inconsistent, when their world stops following a pattern they can trust, something inside them changes. They become alert, restless, uncertain. Because in their mind, unpredictability isn't just inconvenient. It's dangerous. And that feeling lingers, even when everything seems fine again. Then there are the places they go when they're afraid. Or at least, the places they should be able to go. Think about it for a moment. If your cat needed to disappear right now, truly disappear, where would they go? Not just hide, but feel safe. If the answer is unclear, or limited, then your cat is living in a space where safety is always slightly out of reach. Because for them, hiding isn't weakness. It's security. It's knowing they have control over their environment. And when that control is missing, the stress doesn't come and go. It stays. Quiet. Constant. Unseen. Then there are instincts you might not even realize exist. The need for grass. The pull towards something green. You've seen it before. The way your cat nibbles at a plant, chews on something they shouldn't, shows interest in things that don't make sense. Feels random. But it isn't. It's their body asking for something it's not getting. And when that need goes unmet, they don't stop searching. They improvise. And sometimes, what they find isn't safe. Then there's sunlight. That perfect patch of warmth by the window where your cat loves to lie. It looks like everything they need. Light. Heat. Comfort. But there's something missing. Something you can't see. Because the glass between them and the outside world filters more than just air. It filters what their body quietly depends on. So they lie there, soaking in warmth that feels right, while something essential never reaches them. And just like everything else, there's no immediate sign. No obvious signal. Just a slow, invisible absence. Then there are the things we add to their lives, thinking they're harmless. A collar with a bell. A small detail. A cute touch. Something that makes them easier to hear, easier to find. But for your cat, it's constant. Every movement. Every step. Every stretch. A sound they didn't choose, that follows them everywhere. You might forget it's there. They never can. And over time, that constant presence begins to shape how they feel. How they move. How they exist in their own body. Then there are the dangers that don't look like dangers at all. A plastic bag left on the floor. A simple, everyday object. Until it isn't. Until curiosity turns into panic. Until something goes wrong, fast. And suddenly, something that seemed completely harmless becomes something you wish you had thought about just a little more. There are patterns too. Habits that form without you realizing. Like the early morning wake-up. The soft pause. The quiet insistence. The moment you give in, just once, because it's easier. And then again, and again, until your cat learns something powerful, that your reaction is predictable, that your behavior can be shaped, and suddenly the roles shift, without you noticing. Then there are things you assume your cat doesn't need. Protection from fleas, for example, because they're indoors, because they're safe. But safety isn't as simple as walls and doors. And some things don't need an invitation to enter your home. They just need an opportunity. And once they're there, they don't announce themselves. They grow, multiply, spread, until your cat begins to feel it. And you begin to notice, too late. There are moments when your cat reaches out to you. Not physically, but emotionally. A look, a sound, a small attempt to connect. And sometimes you're busy, distracted, tired, so you ignore it. Not intentionally, not cruelly, just momentarily. But to your cat, that moment matters more than you realize. Because connection isn't optional for them. It's everything. And when those moments are missed, again and again, something changes. They stop asking. They stop reaching. They adapt to your absence, even when you're right there. Then there are things that can't be undone. Mistakes that happen in seconds. Using the wrong product. Making a small assumption. Trusting something that wasn't meant for them. And the consequences don't give you time to fix it. That's the part no one prepares you for. How fast things can go wrong. How quiet the lead-up can be. How sudden the realization feels when it finally hits you. But here's the truth that matters more than anything else. Every single one of these things, every mistake, every oversight, every quiet, hidden pressure your cat has been living with, can change. Not someday. Not eventually. Today. Because now you see it. Now you understand. And that changes everything. Your cat doesn't need perfection. They don't expect you to get everything right. They've never expected that. All they've ever done is trust you. Completely. Blindly. With a kind of faith that never questions whether you're doing the right thing. Even when you're not. And that's what makes this so important. Because your cat has no backup plan. No second option. No way to step outside the life you've created for them. You are their environment. Their safety. Their comfort. Their entire world. And the life they live is a reflection of the choices you make every single day. So now the question isn't whether you love your cat. You already do. The question is, what are you going to do with what you know now? Because awareness is a turning point. A moment where everything before it fades into the background, and everything after it becomes a choice. A conscious one. And maybe, just maybe, the life your cat has been quietly enduring can become a life they truly get to enjoy. Not someday. Not in theory. But starting now.